Hey guys, welcome to the incoherent ramblings of a madman. That's what I'm going to call these kinds of videos where I'm just staring into the microphone, or it's not staring into the microphone, shouting into the microphone and looking at the camera and being like, oh, this is how I feel about this thing and how, what I've been thinking about today and blah, 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 and annoying you guys to death with my raspy voice and my bad video things and my tangents and all that. But yeah, today's about politics on the internet and why I hate it so much. Why I just don't like it like at all. And this is not to say I don't like a certain political belief or because I disagree with it wholeheartedly and like some person on the internet is bad because they share this belief or fucking whatever. This is not like the point of this video. This video is just an examination of how people on the internet interact with politics and why it's so bad and irresponsible, at least in my opinion. And all of this is just my opinion. And if you want to watch like a whole more comprehensive kind of like video or a better kind of like a fucking explanation of this, I don't know, go watch Tim Minchin's what's it called confirmation bias. This kind of that kind of like I don't know. That'll probably do things better. But this is probably going to dive deeper than that. So basically, the reason why I find it so irresponsible, is because one, the internet for a long time has always had this thing, and I think it's not even the internet thing. I think it's just a human thing, with parasocial activity and parasocial fans and all of this kind of stuff. It's always dealt with that. So you've had this with music, right? Michael Jackson, fucking biggest pop star in the world at one point. Now we have Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift, got married. Biggest deal to every Taylor Swift fan ever, basically, right? You had all these people crying or talking about how it affected them for some reason. Even though it's about her, but okay, fine. Do whatever you do, I guess. Even at like a smaller scale, like most recent one I can think of is because he talked about it, Corey Kenshin, and his Venom, right? He has to like denounce him like once every 3 years. So it was like, but people always have to deal with parasocial activity, and it never really goes too far, right? You had that one time where Markiplier and Jacksepticeye had like ship fandom things together, right? As if it was like a the YouTube version of MHA back in the day. And like with the whole like shipping thing, I mean, but it never really got so bad, right? Because it never had to do with anything that was in. It had to do with real life stuff, right? Real life tragedies, real life things going on. It never had to deal with that. But what now? What's happening with these guys online who talk about politics and talk about these things is they draw in a younger audience, and the reason why that is a problem is because usually what I find is that people that do this, these kinds of people, usually don't have respect or don't really look into the people that are on the other side of the spectrum. They usually denounce them or call them stupid or say these weird things about them that ultimately would disinterest. It gets rid of any interest that would have been there for the viewer if they're coming in new or if they have been there a while, right? They denounce each other and they show basically little to no respect for each other. And well, you could ask, right? Like, why? Okay, you saying this now, but okay, what about like the news and stuff? And the news was one like, were you watching the news as a kid, as a 15-year-old, right? I doubt it. Like you could argue when people are becoming president, yeah, that's a big thing. Most people are watching that. But when you have something on YouTube, for example, and it's on your feed, right, and you have it in your phone, and you have it in your classrooms, things like this, you bring your stuff everywhere with you. You see this stuff more often, right, and with kids, for example, like these aren't like kids, right? These aren't guys in like elementary school or like early middle school, but I'd say like late middle school, high school, college. These kinds of people, they're the audience, especially for left wing people. They usually watch this kind of stuff. So when you have people like them who are either there to validate themselves, right? Confirmation bias, or there to look for some sort of something to cling on to, something to explore, right? Because that's what kids usually do. They explore. They find out what they like. They find out what they want. This is something you do in like pretty much late middle school or like seventh, eighth grade. And throughout high school, right? You figure out what you want to do. You figure out the people you like. You figure out who you are as a person. That's basically what happens in middle school, high school, mostly high school. And when you see these things, and this is like everywhere, right? These political YouTubers and all that, they're everywhere. So when you see these things and you see someone so opinionated, like I don't know, like Hassan or Asmongold, but I mean, I'd say more Hassan than Asmongold, to be honest, because I think Asmongold's more of censor. He's more reasonable. Still don't really like watching his politics, but still more reasonable than I think Hassan. But anyway, I digress. When you have these people, and you have a kid watching Hassan, for example, and you see him saying, "Oh, you have to double down, and you have to, I don't know, denounce the other side. You have to, like, I don't know, not like Asmongold because his takes are stupid." And then Asmongold kind of says the same thing. He says, "Oh, you shouldn't have like Hassan. Why are you liking like a terrorist sympathizer, right?" And then you have two people, right? And you have the Hassan people and the Asmongold people, right? And for some reason, the Hassan people go for fascist, because I don't know if Hassan really called. I don't think so. He didn't really call Asmongold fascist, but his fans, they're gonna take it there. They're gonna take it to the most extreme thing they could probably think of. They can go for fascist. They can go for Nazi. They can go for white supremacist, the KKK fucking guy, right? He looks like the fucking Grand Wizard because he looks like I don't know. He belongs in the World of Warcraft for some reason, right? Or you go for like Hassan's fandom, not Hassan, Asmongold's fandom, right? Asmongold fan, he said, "Oh, Hassan's kind of like stupid," all right, and then you're like, "No, Hassan's like a terrorist sympathizer." But no, you go, "Oh, fucking, oh no, Hassan is a terrorist. Actually, he sides with the terrorists. He's with the terrorists, and he looks stupid and dumb, and he's a narcissist, and fucking, I don't know, he's a fucking himbo or something, but like in like an actual like hoe." Kind of himbo, right? Because he does all these things and he shares news with his friends, and that's bad. Even though it could have been like, oh, he just got something. He's like, oh, what? That's crazy. And like, it's weird that he show his friends that, but it's more like it's crazy kind of way instead of look at this. Look at how much pussy I get or something like that. I don't believe it's that to be honest. But they take it to these super extremes when really, these people still don't like each other, but they're not saying that they are like fascist or a Nazi or a terrorist or fucking whatever you can call Hassan, right? You could say Hassan's propagandist because he admitted that. You could say maybe Asmongold thinks agrees with some authoritarian stuff. You can say that, right? Because he's admitted that. But you can't really say that he's a Nazi or either one is like a terrorist or fucking whatever, some stupid like that. But when you have these younger people, because younger guys lean more to the right now, I think, and younger girls or younger people in general, I think, go more to the left still. You have these two guys, for example, totally opposite on the spectrum. So you have these totally opposite groups on the spectrum, right? And then they have to fight for their group. They feel like because one, again, these are younger people. They're going in for what they feel is validated by this person, right? And so since you feel validated by this person, you have to be loyal to them or some bullshit like that. So you see this other group attacking your guy, and you're like, "Oh, I gotta fight for my guy now," because because look what this guy did for me. He said something I agree with, and then the other group is exactly the same. Just you guys think about two different things, differently, fucking whatever. Even though you might like the same anime, like One Piece or something, and you could probably bond on that. But no, he's a fascist, and these people are terrorist sympathizers. They sympathize with Hassan and the worst kind of people. And it's like, really, that's the whole discussion. That's not the whole like not you're not gonna go for why do you think this way. You're not gonna go for, hey, I think you're right about this thing, and maybe I was wrong. or vice versa. I was right about this thing. Maybe you're wrong, and why don't we talk about that? Why does it have to be always combative? Why can't you just like sit down and talk about things? I don't understand that. I don't understand why people don't do that anymore. You'd have these like debates like with Destiny or Hassan or fucking whatever, but it's not really to learn anything. It's not to grow as a person, or to see where your faults lie or the other person's fault lie, and you can say, hey, you're wrong about this, but that's okay. You were just misguided, or you were just like, hey, this is, you believe in this, and that's perfectly fine. People are entitled to their beliefs, but you can always change. And now you've changed, and that's okay. And you know what? You're entitled to that change too. And I don't see people doing that enough. I don't see people, going into a conversation and just treating it as that. They have to treat it as like war. They have to treat it like they're going into fucking the hexagon, right? They have to treat it like fucking MMA all the time, and it's not that serious. It's really not. Like I don't understand why these people, and it's on both sides, honestly. I don't understand why these people feel like they're in the middle of the trenches, like the people that are suffering are. I really don't get it, right? Because you're over here in your middle class house, because let's face it, most of these people are middle class. You're here in your suburb, middle class house, and you're watching this person. You believe in your heart this person is right, and you have to commit yourself to him. And now that you committed yourself to him, you feel all the pain suddenly that these people feel in some other war-torn country, even though you can't even point the country on a map, and you've only heard about it 2 weeks ago. You suddenly feel like you know everything about this place, and you have to comment on it. And now, because you're new to this, you have to validate yourself. So you have to go to, I don't know, like some popular musician, like what they did to Tom York, right? You have to go to, I don't know, Tom York, be like, hey, how do you feel like the Gaza and Palestine situation? How do you feel about Israel and Gaza? How do you feel about that? And then he says something, right, that isn't necessarily wrong, but it doesn't fit your worldview. It doesn't fit your, whatever you believe in, right? He says it's too divisive, so I'm not going to talk about it, and I don't know nearly enough about it. It's not my thing. So he says that, and suddenly you think he's the worst person in the world. You think he's absolutely pathetic. You think this is the wrong move. You think this is just horrible, even though he's human. He's a guy, and he might have talked about something 30 years ago, but maybe that was a different situation. Maybe he felt like talking about that more because he knew about that more at the time, and this is a different situation, so he's going to feel differently about it. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's not, because he sides with one side secretly and it's not revealing it. I don't see why he would not do that, right? Like David Draymond obviously sides with Israel, but he's not hiding it. He's vehemently like, hey, my parents are Israeli. I came from that land, basically. I'm siding with it, and that was it, right? And you can say, oh, that's a bad thing, or oh, that's actually a good thing, or oh, whatever, right? But that's what he stood by. So I don't understand that kind of thing. And then it's like the same thing with Tim Minchin, like I talked about a little earlier with his confirmation bias thing. Yeah, you have to ask him, and you have to be like, hey, how do you feel about this thing? How do you feel about this? And he's like, the world shouldn't really know my beliefs. I don't see why it should. And then you're like, oh wow, you must be a horrible human being. Wow, I can't believe this. And now you got to put him on some list, because apparently in Australia they put people on lists, like apparently they have like a Zionist list or something like that. At least this is from his words. I don't know this for a fact. But apparently they put a Zionist list, and it's basically just Jewish people, and this is basically a list for people to boycott, right? And this is just kind of an online thing in general, right? So you see these people that go from they believe in something, and they become so emotionally tied to it that anything else is just, if you can't validate them, then you're just the worst person in the world to them, because it's so attached to their ego that they can't handle anything else. And this is mostly like the left, but the right kind of, it suffers from this too. But it's the only difference is and what I believe is, the left is hypocritical, and then the right is just hypocritical, but it's consistently hypocritical, right? Because the right kind of does this, but it's more like with religion and identity politics, right? Because again, they become emotionally tied to something that shouldn't be emotional, right? Or they tie something that should be, kind of emotional or should be tied to you, like it's special to you, and they tie it into their politics, like religion, for example. Religion and politics don't mix well. It never has gone well. You fucking you should know this. Everyone should know this. If they read history books, you should know how well religion and fucking politics go. It doesn't work well. Government and religion never go that well hand in hand. That's why you don't see. That's why you don't have America as like a Christian safe haven, because it wouldn't work, for a multitude of reasons that I'm not going to get into. But people think it would work, even though this country is not built on Christianity and values of Christians, even though they would say that. But I digress. It's not built on that, and when you point that out, and when you point out everything that it has, they'll be like, well, I mean, all the founding fathers were Christian. And it's like, yeah, but if they believed in Christianity as much as you did, wouldn't they mix church and state? And wouldn't they believe in that, even though they said, no, you shouldn't mix church and state, and you should have freedom of expression? And you can argue, oh, well, they originally meant like Protestant kind of stuff. And these are mostly Catholic Christians that are talking about this kind of stuff, except for like evangelicals, I guess, like those big super mega churches. But Catholics are mostly like the forefront for this. I don't see any real Baptists or I don't know, Anglican, or I don't know, like a Leviathan. I think that's a Christian. Whatever, it's a fucking bunch of Protestant. There's so many Protestant churches, okay? So I don't see like a Protestant kind of Christian going that far. But, Catholic people like to go that far because, they believe in that. It's really special to them, and that's all the power to them. But they shouldn't impose those values onto others, and that's what both sides do. They impose their values a lot, and that gets really annoying. And, that's the whole thing. That's the same thing that, they try doing with, like, Tom York and Tim Minchin. They impose their values on them. They have to be like, you have to believe in this. You have to believe in this. If you don't, you're a bad person. And that's what the right does a lot of the time. They're like, you're fucking like I don't know, like you're gay or something. You're a bad person. You're fucking horrible. You're saying you've been consumed by lust or some stupid like that, right? Or like you're trans. You're like, oh, you're mutilating yourself. What are you doing? What are you doing? What do your parents think, right? And it becomes this whole. It's more about them than it is about the actual person, right? And again, that's a both sides thing. It's just they do it differently, right? It's about different things. One is about human suffering and all that, and how it relates to them, right? And how they feel about that. And if someone feels different, then they have the wrong opinion. And because opinions can just be wrong, apparently, even though it's an opinion, it's not supposed to be right or wrong. It's not a fact. Anyway, you're wrong about your opinion, because I feel that it's a good thing or a bad thing, or what I stand for is good and what you stand for is bad, or blah blah blah. And then the right wing people are like, hey, no, what I believe is good, because it saves conservative values and it's traditional and fucking fuck whatever, right? Whatever fucking conservatives believe, right? You have those things. I'm going like to the far end of that, right? I'm very much I'm explaining it cartoonishly. I can't even think of the word right now, but I'm explaining it cartoonishly. This is like a very cartoonish example of what both sides do, but they kind of do both, right? Especially like the left, and right, you see that a lot with the left. It's more, people call it out more. But anyway, yeah, that's what they do. They are both hypocritical, and they both treat things way too personal. It's way too personal for them, and they can't ever let go and be like, hey, let's have an understanding of each other. Maybe we'll see things out, right? Maybe we can talk things out. We can, I don't know, have a brunch together or something, right? We can go out for dinner and talk about this on the table. You can come to my house and we could play games and we can like talk it out and we could watch I don't know, like fucking the World Cup that's coming on, or I don't know, fucking uh whatever fucking football game is going on right now. Like you can watch the Vikings or something. Watch them beat up the fucking I don't know, the Ravens. You can watch them beat up the Bears or fucking literally like the Raiders or fucking whatever. You can watch football with them or any kind of sport and then talk it out and then be like, hey, I like this thing and you like this thing too, and maybe we should like each other, not based on our ideologies or how we believe things should go, but based on who we are as people. And maybe we can change from that, we can learn from each other, and we can, be kind to each other. Maybe that is the real progress, and maybe that we can teach our children to do that. But it's not that anymore. I feel like it got to that point at one point, right? I think it was definitely there for a second, but people lost it, right? People lost that, and I think it's mostly due to the internet and things being so widespread, and that's why it's so irresponsible. Because we got there, we got to the irresponsible part. Why it's so irresponsible? It took 20 minutes, but made it. But that's why it's so irresponsible, because you lose what you could gain or what you could have gained. I think people as a whole, if people looked more into what they liked and considered each other more as people rather than what they are, what their ideologies are, or fucking whatever skin color they are. And I'm surprised we're saying whatever skin color in 2020 fucking 5 and 6, right? It's been how many years? How many years has it been? How many years has it been? 1960. It's been 60, almost 60 years, right? Or pretty much 60 years, right? Because my mom almost 50. Yeah, it's been 60 years, right? It's been 60 fucking years, and we're still talking about this shit, right? 60 years, and you have to be like, oh, it doesn't matter what race, right? Why do I have to say this, right? It should be fucking obvious, but whatever. It shouldn't matter about skin color or fucking gender identity or whatever. It really shouldn't matter about that. You vibe with a person. Let's say you just vibe with that person, okay? Let's say you disagree with them on something. It's great, phenomenal, okay? That's okay. Disagree all you want. What's like? There should be no problem, okay? There shouldn't be a problem with being friends with someone you disagree with. I believe you should. I don't see the problem with being kind with someone you disagree with, right? And this is not to say you should agree with them on everything. That's not being kind. That's just dick sucking at that point, right? That's just slobbering on their cock. No. What being kind is just being kind, right? I don't know why this is fucking has to be explained, but being kind is just treating someone with respect, okay? And treating a person like a person and not their whatever ideology they are, because a person is not as bad as what they think, okay? They're not, okay? If someone is Christian, that doesn't necessarily mean they're a bad person, right? If someone is like fucking I don't know, Catholic, right? That doesn't mean they're a bad person. If you had a bad experience with, I don't know, like a Christian or something, or the church, that's fine, okay? That's fair, okay? You can't really vibe with Christians. You have your own problem. That's something that was happened to you and done to you, but don't go and blame that on the guy who just met you, okay? Or the girl who just met you that just happened to be Christian, okay? Don't blame it on anyone else. Blame it on the people who hurt you, and you need to end up trying to get past that as best you can, and that's something you need to work on, and that's fine, and that's completely understandable, okay? But don't blame that on every single Christian in the world. Same thing as, like, don't blame, like, whatever happened in the past on every, like, this is mostly like a black thing. Don't blame whatever happened in the past on every white person who exists now, because they don't have anything to do with it, okay? They were born just as you were born, okay? They have a privilege, okay? That's something that exists. They have a privilege. They were born better, like, society treats them better, basically, the majority. But the system that was created wasn't built by them. It was not. Okay, they just happened to be born as a white guy or whatever, right? If they were born for the system that was for basically white people, that's not really their fault, right? It now if they set up a system or made a new system that went back to the older days and made it so black or anyone else kind of people were treated lesser again and like basically like shit and paid less and whatever, right? Then you could be like, okay, yeah, right, these people fucking suck, but they're not doing that, right? Most of the time they don't feel that way, right? They're just normal regular people, and I don't understand why some people, and I'm not saying this is all people, right? I'm saying this for the fucking minority. uh, I don't understand why some people can't seem to understand that. I don't see why some people can't seem to get that. Same with like fucking white people that think every black guy or fucking whatever is some hoodlum that'll, I don't know, like snatch their purse or come up to them and I don't know, like murder them or rob them. Fucking, cause I don't know, whatever the FBI says. Like thinking a fucking white guy is gonna rape me, or I don't know, like rape my cousin or something, because white people have the most rape counts in the whole fucking country. It's fucking dumb, horribly dumb. I don't know, and it's like a small percentage of people too. It's just I I don't know why people are so so I won't say ignorant. It's willfully ignorant. I don't know why people are so willfully ignorant. It's just, for me, it's just so stupid. But anyway, I've been getting on tangents. It's 2 a.m. I'm tired. And I'm just going on and on about it. I'm just gonna end up falling asleep. So I know this is horrible. I know this was worded very poorly. It's 2 a.m. Give me some slack, okay? I'm bad at this. I'll get better. I'm gonna post more, and I'll get better with each video, maybe. But okay, I'm gonna go sleep now. Have a good day. Be kind to each other. Basically, that's the message of this. And stay away from internet politics. Yeah, read an article or something. Don't watch if you're gonna watch someone for their opinion. Save that for after you've got your own opinion, and then just make up your mind first before you watch someone, basically. And don't surround yourself by misery, because that's bad. It'll make you miserable, and yeah, at least that's what I believe. And yeah, those are my words of wisdom. Bye bye.